Thank you everyone for joining the webinar, and I welcome you for the topic today, bridging the leadership gap. So what is leadership? What is the definition of leadership? Now, So leadership is not necessarily about doing great things, but about inspiring and motivating others to do great things. Now, this brings me to the next topic, which is effective leadership should be based on 3 core values. What are the core values of a leader that a leader should have? So a leader should have integrity, living your life based on your values, your principles, direction, with consistent actions. Second, a servant's heart. Now, leaders who want to lead a team, they need to serve their customers, their team members, employees, even stakeholders. So the third one is stewardship. Now, develop a sense of responsibility over resources and assets in a crunch, in a crunch time. Great leaders usually fill their obligations towards their employees first, suppliers first, before taking anything for themselves. Yes, Divyanshu, would you like to say something? Could you write it in the chat box? Okay. What is a leadership gap? A rift that forms between leaders and their teams as a result of dissatisfaction of each of them or both of them. So how can we bridge this gap? Now, the leadership gap, as written by Paul J. Meyer, the founder of Leadership Management International, in his book, The 5 Pillars of Leadership, he talks about these 5 pillars through which we can bridge the leadership gap between the leaders and their teams. So what is the first pillar? The first pillar of leadership is crystallized thinking. So it basically tells you to go from general to specific. Turn dreams into goals. So basically, when you are dreaming, when you have dreams, there is no limits on your dreams. There is no deadlines on your dreams. So the first pillar asks you to have a crystallized thinking. Think in specifics. Think about your end objectives. Think about where you are, where you need to be, So understanding who you are, where do you want to go, these are very important to have a crystallized thinking. Crystallized thinking takes you on a path to end objectives. So what is your mission? What is your purpose? What your business does? Where is the organization heading? What are we doing and why are we doing it? This is the core, the first pillar. This is something that leaders need to know about their organizations or about themselves before going ahead. If you don't have goals, there is nothing to accomplish. The second pillar is to develop a written plan of action. Now that we have identified where we are and where we need to be, how do we get there? We need to have a plan, and we need to have a written plan. We need to commit to it. So our written goals increase our commitment towards our goals. They act as a checklist to keep you focused. Now, create plans in all areas of life, not just your organization. So we need to have a wheel of life, basically. So how do you do that? Now we'll go through a wheel of life exercise in some time, and we'll first try to figure out which is the important area for us. So before that, if we neglect the non-work areas of life, problems in those areas can dilute efforts in your work life and vice versa. You will be happier and more content when you are a balanced person. Overall, you become a better role model for your team. So you need to have goals and plans in all the areas of life. You need to be a balanced person. So you need to state your goal in clear and concise terms, set a deadline, identify what are you going to benefit from your goal, what are you going to lose from it, plan for possible obstacles, and break it into concrete steps or milestones. Now, is it still echoing, guys, or is it still better? I think Prabhat says it's still echoing. Actually, in a closed space. Okay. Okay, I'll try to bring it a little closer, maybe, and try to speak. So, this is an exercise for you guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate your satisfaction with each of these areas of life. So, there are 6 areas: family and home, financial and career, mental and educational, physical and health, social and cultural, spiritual and ethical. What I want you all to do is just take a pen and paper and write down which is the least area of importance for you right now. And I mean, you can say neglected area for you right now. And you need to have goals in that area to be a total person. And which is a area which you are satisfied with, you have given all your focus to that area. So I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. So I'll repeat if any of you is joining right now. We are doing an exercise for the wheel of life, which is, there are these 6 areas of life that we have: family and home, financial and career, mental and educational, physical and health, social and cultural, spiritual and ethical. Which of these areas are you totally focused on, and you've prioritized it the most and you're satisfied with it? And which is the area which is the least uh, you know focused for you right now, and you neglected it basically? So I would like you all to have at least one goal in each of these areas and prioritize it according to your situation right now. I'll give you 2 minutes for that. So if any of you has completed the exercise, could you please write it in the chat box? Which is the most prioritized area for you right now and which is the least? Mental and educational is the most prioritized for you right now? Okay, great. And do you have goals in those areas? To like, do you have a learning goal, educational, higher educational goal, or anything that would enhance your mental learning space? Okay, Vishwajit also. Um, and do you have an area which is the least prioritized right now? Any of you? Financial. Okay. So would you like to have a goal in that area, a target, maybe a long-term goal, not a short-term goal like 2-3 months goal, but a long-term goal, a year or 2 years from now? Okay. So when you set these goals, what you have to remember is you have to set the deadline, the timeline, the specific objective that you want to achieve, and also think about, is it realistic for you? Is it achievable? And that is what we call as a SMART goal: specific, measurable, where you can measure the gap between now and where you want to be, and uh, attainable, realistic, and tangible, something that you can touch, feel, see. Yeah. So when you set a goal, you need to have all of these in the goal statement. And it's always advisable to write it down. So anybody else who would like to share? Okay. So moving on. If you don't know where you are going, you'll end up someplace else. Okay. So after some days, motivation goes down for you, Prabhat. And that's very normal for a person to, feel this, that the motivation goes away. So for that, we need to have, a plan, a written plan as to how to achieve that goal, as we talked about it. And in that plan, we need to write down the benefits that we are going to achieve after we achieve that goal. So you need to write down all the, personal benefits for you, and the losses, or what are you going to lose if you don't achieve that. So that will create an urgency in you, and you will work towards that goal. You will keep at it until you achieve it. So you need to have milestones, break down your goal into milestones so that you achieve those short milestones, the goals, and then you go towards it. You are able to track your goal. Does that answer your question, or did you understand what I say? Okay, great. So the third pillar is about creating desire and passion. Now, desire and passion are catalysts in creating results and bringing change. They can be powerful motivators to improve work and personal habits. They push us out of our comfort zone. So a lot of times we set out to do something, but we are afraid of taking the first step because we don't want to get out of our comfort zone. we are scared. Because getting out of your comfort zone is not easy. So there's a certain you know there's some uncertainty, some things that you don't know. So until you take that first step, you feel all of these things, and that's normal. So once you take that first step, once you plan for it, once you uh, how do you create that desire and passion in you? Is by having a written plan of action. So be the change you want to see in others. First, understand your own abilities and potential. If your own personal goals are meaningful, passion will follow. So how do you do that? How do you set personal goals which are meaningful for you? Now, in that, you need to think about your purpose. You need to think about your mission, or the values that you lead your life with, your principles, and then set goals accordingly. Asking for advice offers fresh perspectives. Visualize success. This is a very important point for leaders. You need to visualize success. When you are setting a goal, when you visualize how that, how that will feel when you achieve that goal, that is going to motivate you to work towards your goal. Now be prepared to make the changes necessary. So while going towards your goal or working towards your goal, when you are, you know, uh, getting some obstacles on the way, be prepared to make the necessary changes. But don't forget your goal. Don't change your goal. Move towards your goals. So do whatever is necessary. Now, developing the passion and desire in others. Great leaders inspire, nurture, and cultivate passion and desire in their teams. So teach them or help them learn what they need to know. Ensure they have a plan of action that inspires passion in themselves. Forgive mistakes. This is very important. Forgive mistakes as long as they learn from them. Don't assess anyone's potential without giving them a chance to develop. So people, team members, they are going to make mistakes, and we need to, as leaders, give them the chance to fail, to make mistakes, to not be afraid of trying something new, or thinking of new ideas, or doing something a new way. We need to give them a chance to develop their own way, because each of us have our own way of thinking, our own way of finding solutions, thinking creatively. So don't assess anyone's potential without giving them a full chance to develop. Now, a story about Socrates. So once it so happened that a young man once came up to Socrates and asked him how to attain great wisdom. And Socrates took him down to the river and held his head underwater for a long time until he almost drowned. Has anybody ever heard this story about Socrates? Is anybody aware of this? Okay, so he held his head underwater for a long time until he almost drowned. And when he came up for air, Socrates asked him, what was the one thing that you wanted badly right now? And the person said, I wanted air. I wanted to breathe. That was the most, the thing that I most wanted. So Socrates told him that when you want wisdom, just like you wanted air to breathe, you will attain wisdom. So you need to want something badly to attain it. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. The fourth pillar is confidence and trust. Now, no matter how good you are, you just cannot do everything yourself. Trust is key to your team's personal empowerment. Self-directed employees can significantly enhance your productivity. Team members move from waiting to be told to act to performing by taking ownership. Now, you need to develop that confidence and trust in your team members to do something on their own, to take that ownership and accountability of the things that they are doing, the tasks that you have delegated to them. And that trust in them is going to significantly enhance their productivity and yours. Team members move from waiting to be told to act or waiting to be instructed to performing by taking ownership. So you need to help them through each of the phase. When you have a self-directed team, it is going to help you with a lot of time management and will give you a lot of time for your own high payoff activities. Develop team members by accepting their mistakes and working with their attitudes. Make your employees understand the difference between I failed and I'm a failure. Now, there could be a lot of situations where your team members would, start to do something and they would fail at it. So you have to, coach them or be with them in that, explain it to them that there is a difference between I failed and I'm a failure. They might think that they might sink to the level that they might think that I'm a failure. I'm something is wrong with me, but you have to help them there and explain the difference. Many employees struggle with low self-esteem, thus affecting their behavior and attitudes. Nurturing attitudes of commitment and accountability will improve performance. Help your employees change from within. So this is actually going to help them motivate themselves. After a point of time, you won't be needed to actually motivate them. They would motivate themselves. Now you just have to help them reach that stage that they motivate themselves. They self-motivate. Employee growth and needs. Be willing to nurture an attitude of confidence and trust within yourself, and then try to build them in others. Focus on an employee's personal growth by working with their attitudes. Remember that employee development is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. Help them focus on the possible rather than the impossible. So there might be a lot of situations where you are coming up with a new idea in your business, or you're trying to do something new, you're trying to have a new sales strategy or trying to develop a new product. So you need to have your whole team working towards that, because each of them may have great ideas and that can help you with selling a new product or developing a new product, having a new sales strategy, or any kind of change. So in that, the attitude of a person may go from a fearful stage to a stage where they might feel that, okay, my idea is also heard. You need to make them feel heard and help them focus on the possible rather than the impossible. What all is possible, what all we can do rather than what we cannot do. So that will help them develop their mindset. Now, the story of Spartacus. Now, this is a story that will actually depict how a leader leads from behind. So, Spartacus started off leading a band of robbers and was captured and sold to a gladiator trainer. In 73 BC, he escaped with about 70 followers. They hid inside a volcano named Vesuvius and were soon joined by scores of runaway slaves. He went on to lead a great insurrection in Roman slaves and took control of the southern Italy. He was such a great leader that although he died in a battle in 71 BC, the Romans didn't know about it. That's because each of the slave took the name of Spartacus and said, I'm Spartacus, I'm Spartacus. Each of them said that. So they could never know who was the real Spartacus, and they never knew that Spartacus was dead long before that. So that's how a leader inspires, motivates the whole team and leads from behind. So trust men and they will be true to you. Now, when I say trust men, women included, trust them greatly and they will show themselves great. The fifth pillar is fostering commitment and responsibility. Commitment is acceptance of responsibility for your goals. Foster this in yourself and your team in the face of obstacles. Modern technology has conditioned us to expect instant gratification, but worthwhile goals require time, effort, and perseverance. So what happens is when you have to build commitment, you know about the written plan of action. You need to write down your goals. You need to write a plan for your action. Foster this in yourself first, and then your team members in the face of obstacles. Now, in times of adversity, in times of obstacles, you need to know what you need to do. And modern technology has conditioned us to expect instant gratification, but worthwhile goals require patience, a lot of patience. And even when there is an obstacle or an adversity, you still need to keep going, and you need to lead your team through that phase until that is over. So only commitment and responsibility, accountability, ownership, self-directed teams, only this can take you through the whole journey. Persistence is key to success. Raw determination results from the confidence of clearly written goals, patience to work on a goal over a long period of time, willingness to take risks to find new solutions to challenging problems. Seeing adversity as opportunity. Now, for leaders, it is always told that you need to be proactive rather than reactive. You need to be, there is going to be a lot of crisis situations where you need to have a damage control attitude. But most of the times, leaders are advised to be proactive rather than reactive so that you can prevent such an obstacle from happening, or you are prepared for it. So when an unexpected situation comes, you see it as opportunity rather than an adversity. As difficult as it may seem, adversity helps you grow personally. You need to look at the positives. You need to keep looking at what is possible, what is as a team, what you can achieve. While it is normal to struggle with it, do remember that you have a choice to let it defeat you or to overcome it. So during the pandemic, we saw that there were a number of businesses which actually, they turned themselves completely into some other line of business to keep their team alive, to keep their business alive. And we also saw some businesses which actually, faced a lot of losses. Now, in those kind of unexpected situations, and those kind of situations which nobody is prepared for, you need to see the possibilities. You need to look out for opportunities and turn your business around. Keep your business alive with as little as possible, but keep going. You cannot stop. Otherwise, you may need to have to face a lot of losses. Once your attitude towards adversity changes, it becomes an opportunity. Have the courage to dream. Many of us are conditioned against dreaming in childhood. Face your own strengths and weaknesses. Remember that your analysis only looks at your past, not at your future potential. So you need to let go of your past. You need to develop a mindset which has a winning attitude, which has an attitude of looking at possibilities, an optimistic attitude. More than that, a realistic attitude. What is possible, what is real, what is practical. Innovate. Being averse to risk could mean missed opportunities. So there might be a lot of situations where we need to take risks in our careers, where it is very scary for all of us, but until we try something new, we don't know whether we are good at it or not. So we need to take those risks, sometimes calculated risks. Sometimes we need to just, put ourselves out there and see what we can do. Otherwise, we may miss that opportunity. So anything that is a guaranteed failure is something that we have not tried. Courage. in leadership also means accepting responsibility for all that happens in your organization. So being a leader of your organization or being a leader of your team, when any of your team members makes a mistake or fails at something, you need to take that responsibility on yourself, not blaming employees or colleagues by taking ownership for their mistakes. Past mistakes are simply information. Use them to chart the course to success. So we need to learn from our mistakes and try to take that as an information to see what is right and what is wrong, what did we do that went wrong, and what we should avoid doing in future, and what else can we do. So mistakes should be seen as learnings, and as a leader you need to take responsibility. So when there is a failure, you need to take that responsibility, and when somebody does well, you need to give that credit to the person. So you need to lead from behind. That's what a leader does. Change is hard, both for you and your team. So people crave stability. Inspire them to join you in the journey of change. There has been a lot of um, restructuring or change in a lot of places, in a lot of companies recently because of the um, crisis situation, the pandemic situation. Present restructuring as an opportunity for improvement, and your team will respond with increased productivity, better quality and service. Work on your own development while coaching team members through change. Now, this is a very important topic because so many companies today are going through change, and we always hear this thing that change is the only constant. So how do we take our team through that change? First, when we are trying to change something in our organization or in our team, whether it is a small thing from changing a strategy to a big thing like there is a restructuring, organizational development, which affects everybody in the whole organization. There could be a lot of situations for your team members. They could, have insecurities or fears as to whether they will be able to cope up with that change, whether, um, the organization is going to value them later, whether they're going to fit with the new kind of change, you know. So do they have the skills to try this new thing or not? So there are going to be a lot of situations for each of your team member. It could be different. So you need to present restructuring or any kind of change as an opportunity for improvement for your team members. You need to take them slowly through the change. Tell them your goals for the, your vision for the team or the organization. Tell them what is their part, what is their part in growing the organization or contributing to the goals, so that they will feel like a part of it and they will like to take ownership and accountability and help you with the change. Work on your own development while coaching team members through this change. Now, coaching is a very, very important thing for leaders, for managers, whether they are the first-time managers or senior managers or the CEOs, VPs, business owners. Coaching your team members, is something that all of us have to learn. We need to coach ourselves, get us ourselves get that mindset for ourselves that we are always ready for everything, and coach our team members whenever they are going through something, they are going through a change, or there is a new situation, unexpected situation, or they are stuck somewhere. So this is something which is very, very important. Now, success in change depends on anticipating obstacles. Make plans to deal with the obstacles you can anticipate. Make your plan for change flexible enough to deal with unforeseen obstacles. You need to write that plan of action where you need to think about whatever obstacles are coming to your mind right now that you can think of. And you need to make some room for unexpected obstacles that might come up, and they do come up. Monitor progress and be available to help your team achieve the change they need to. So you need to track your progress from time to time, and that is why the milestones, the short-term goals, are very, very important. To summarize the 5 pillars, define the specific results you wish to achieve, create a plan to achieve the results, develop passion within yourself and your team, build belief and confidence, instill determination and perseverance. We are all aware that the last year and a half have been the most challenging in recent history. Effective leadership is more critical than ever. Part of this involves seeing opportunities where others cannot. Do you agree with me in this? Anyone? Okay. So how many of you feel that you may not be using your full potential? Anyone, you can write it down in your chat box. You know, when you see an iceberg, only this part is visible and the whole, you know, other part, which is a major part of it, is not visible. Yes, Ambika, at times I have that feeling too. So yeah, Prabhat, you too. So this is an exercise for you all. Okay, not satisfied with daily achievement. All right. This is an exercise to list down 3 things, 3 areas where you really like to develop. And I'll give you 1 minute for this. Just take a look at these areas, and you can list down 3 areas of it and write it down in the chat box. Anybody would like to share? Goal setting and planning, Prabhat. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Managing time pressure. Nikita, communication skills. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Any other areas? Yes, Ambika. Work-life balance, prioritization, self-organization. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Any other areas? Anybody else? Nikita, any other areas for you? Self-organization, Prabhat. Okay. Productivity issues. All right. Communication skills. So I think, you know, all of these areas are important for each one of us to become, you know, to improve. And there is always a scope of improvement. And to be better leaders, we need to be good at each of these things. We need to, you know, first lead ourselves, have better communication skills, manage our time pressures, you know, have a better time management, goal setting and planning, goal clarity and ownership, self-organization. We need to be organized first. We need to understand how to prioritize our work, how to handle interruptions today in the digital age, where we get so many stimuli, so many notifications. So we need to handle those interruptions. Productivity issues, interpersonal skills, collaboration skills. So all of these areas are very important for us to be good leaders for ourselves first, and then to have these things in our team, right? Lead our team. Yes, achieving full potential, right, Prabhat? Absolutely. For achieving 100% potential, we need to actually have all of these areas for ourselves. So at Windsor or at Prismind, we offer the following LMI programs: effective personal productivity, manage yourself to manage others better; effective leadership development, become a leader and coach for your team; effective personal leadership, become a leader in all areas of your life; effective selling strategies, a powerful sales training program; attitude is everything, an inspirational motivational program. This is just for your information. As a special thank you for attending today, we would like to offer you, or any of your team member, any friends, colleagues you nominate, a free 45 minutes goal setting session. We will be in touch with you to set this up. Thank you so much. So now I'll open it up for the questions. I can allow all of you to talk. You can ask your questions. You can write down your questions. Anybody, any questions?
For better communication skills, can we join some class, or what should we do?
So we also would offer, short courses like communication skills, negotiation skills. We have those offerings as well. We can have a goal setting session first to understand what all you need and how to set your goals, and then we can go from there. Does that answer your question, Shalini?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else? No questions? No. So, Prabhat, I can help you with the goal setting and planning, and the same process will not start. I can guarantee you that. Would you like to share exactly what happens when you set a goal, and why do you, lose motivation for your goals? Would you like to share that with us, if you're comfortable?
क्या बोलेगा पूछ
So what happens when you set a goal? Why do you lose motivation? What happens? Distractions. Okay. So I can surely help you with this. I can help you in setting such a goal where you have all your specific objectives. You have mentioned your timeline. You have planned for your milestones, your benefits, losses, obstacles, everything. There will be no scope, to actually fall behind. You'll be able to track the progress of your goals. So I can help you with that. Is that okay? Would you like to join the goal setting session with me?
पूरा भाई हम वो पूछ रहे कि बताओ भाई कौन कर क्या
You
दिक्कत
are unmuted. We all can hear you.
है?
Okay. So if there are no more questions, we can actually stop the recording then.